Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with two jazz multi-instrumentalists, Patrick Case and Adam Parry-Davies of the UK collective According to Sound. They opened up about their brand new 2022 CD, Intention. It features a wide variety of music from fusion to acoustic, from Miles Davis to modern beat, funk, and grooves. There is an impressive ensemble of musicians over multiple continents. The backstory is as interesting as their music and their journey ahead. We cover some impressive ground. Enjoy. Hey, man, thank you for being patient. Thanks for taking a minute out. I look forward to talking to you about the new project.
That sounds cool.
Talk to me a little bit about Intention. And I guess I should start here. We're coming out of a pandemic. It's been quite a time. And intention's probably the right way of putting the mood on earth with everything that's been happening with this. So how does it feel to have a new recording coming out? Do you have hopes of live performance and kind of promoting this as hopefully the world wakes up?
Good question. I think we're definitely excited by the album being released, and like having hard copies at a time like this is a privilege. Any way to uplift ourselves and our peers and people around us from these times and out of these times is like a step in the right direction. So yeah, definitely, happy to have a record out. And yeah, live performance, that's how we're going to get each other out of this hole we're all in, spreading positive energy, and yeah, making sure that, we can all have a good time, and live, and so live performance, that's definitely a good place to be in the future.
Where exactly are you located right now?
So we're in Birmingham right now, and actually we've got a lovely view of Birmingham in all its beauty.
Yeah.
A bit cloudy, slightly sunny, but yeah, it's a huge place. I don't know whether you know Birmingham, but it's an absolutely massive city, but it's got a great sort of sense of pride and development. And there's building projects everywhere. They're just about to build a high-speed railway that's going to pass straight by where we're placed right now.
So geographically speaking, so the audience understands exactly where is that at in relation to bigger cities, kind of geographically speaking.
It's right in the center of England. So it's called the Midlands, and that's why it is, because it's right in the Midland part. So yeah, it's as far as from the sea as you could imagine.
There's still seagulls here, though.
There are still seagulls. Yeah, they still come chasing oxygen.
Yeah. It's funny. It sounds like you're describing Kansas City. We're directly in the center of the United States, as far away from water, but we still have birds that are flying around. They're always looking for food.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we've got birds around. It shows that we're doing something right environmentally.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the sound of this album. It's very interesting. There's a lot going on. So from your perspective, talk to me a little bit artistically about how you kind of orchestrated and stitched this down together for its final product.
Okay, well, so Adam and I had a bit of a conversation after our first record, which was called Prism and Ing, and we felt that it would be a good idea to focus the record a little bit, and that's why the titles come about, to give it a sense of intention. So we actually, each track is a bit like a postcard that you send on holiday. It's very focused, it describes a mood, and we wanted each track to have a flow, but also to have a very straight focus about it. So that was one of our key aspects. What we normally do with all our music is create huge amounts of demos. And in fact, we've just been working this morning, creating more stuff for our third album. So for our first album, we did like 92 tracks. We actually wrote 92 tracks. For this one, we've written about 46 tracks. And for the new one, we've done about the same. And then we just go through them, and we focus on the ones that we think make sense, that we want to work on. So it's all done in stages. So the first stage is that in Birmingham, we've got these beautiful pianos, really nice Steinway pianos, and either Adam improvises completely from scratch, or maybe I've got some ideas and I'll throw some ideas to him. But we just get down some music, and it's all done like as a stream of consciousness, as improvisation. So it's all, the idea is to have sort of like real energy and the shock of the new. So carry on.
It's composition through improvisation, and you're really trying to capture the spirit of the moment, as Patrick was saying. And then we kind of boil all that music down, all those demos down into recapturing that moment and that spirit and putting it into the music.
Once we've got sort of an idea within that vast amount of material, what we're going to work on, then we do it in stages. We've got a very loyal and very helpful team now. We've got a lot of really nice
musicians.
Yeah, really, really amazing musicians in Bristol, like James Morton and Gary Ellsbrook.
Yeah.
And so stage 2 of the process is to go through the material and put the sax on, put the trumpet on, put some other things, like I might do some programming or put some synths or strings. And
it's a true conversation. It's like, I'll record something. Patrick, it's like a baton change. Patrick takes it up to Bristol, down to Bristol, sorry. And I'm still getting this, talk about geography, still getting my head around that. But it's definitely a baton change between all these fantastic musicians.
And then the next bit is like to involve the Americans. So again, we've got incredible players in America, centered around New York mainly. So for the first record, we were able to actually go out to New York and to work in Brooklyn in a studio called The Bunker. And the musicians would come in and record there and add their ideas for the record. People like James Carter and Chad Lefkowitz-Brown and Jake Goldbass and Mike Rodriguez. And for this record, we've had another couple of people like Ambrose Akinmutsir and Justin Brown and Theo Croker. And so the idea is that they also do the same sort of thing. They put things down as a stream of consciousness, and then we have hopefully the energy, and we have like a shared vision of the whole record. So it's not just us. We're not saying to other people, you have to play this. These are the notes you've got to play. It's much more open, and in that way we hope to involve the musicians a bit more in what we're trying to do. And then we go to the premises.
Yeah, we head to that's like a really nice studio in Hackney, which is where I'm from, in East London. It's on Hackney Road, and it's really just like a safe haven and a creative place for so many great musicians that have been going there over the years and still are. And we went to see Neil upstairs in I think it's Studio 1, isn't it? Yeah, we just sat there, like we did on the first record, just sat there for about 10 days, just working on the record and mixing it and, stitching, as you were saying, you used the word stitching. It kind of is. It's like stitching a tapestry or putting a collage together of all these fantastic, different recordings. It's a really interesting way of working because you need to figure out when to leave the music as it is and when to actually go in and kind of cut bits and stitch things together. It feels really like we're kind of producing a record with all these kind of beautiful bits of tapestry.
And I should also add that we had tremendous support from somebody called Alex Fryer and his string players in London. So another thing that we wanted to try and do, as well as give the record a sense of intention, we also wanted to add some new ideas, new sounds to the record. And so we had quite a conversation between us about strings, about all the great people that have used strings in the past, and what type of string sounds we wanted. And we've also added some synths as well, just to try and change the mood and to try and see if we can develop our sound. And then the final guy in our team is like the guy who masters our stuff. So we go to this place called Alchemy, which is, again, in London, and there's a guy there called Barry Grint, and it's nice because, Yeah, he's a really experienced guy, and it's nice to actually involve people in a personal way. So a lot of the time, he's like a mastering engineer, and all these guys send stuff through the internet to him, and he never sees the artist. But it's much more fun to actually sit down in the mastering studio with the guy and have a conversation, have a coffee, have a chat, but then sort of like get both involved in the sound. And we feel that this benefits us hugely, having this sort of like, the friendship basically that comes from making music. That's a really important factor in what we try to do.
It's like that mastering, it's like putting a finish on this mosaic or collage that we've built. It's like putting a shiny finish on it.
So, as we do kind of reemerge into the world and COVID slows down, live shows pick up, what are you all hoping that everybody musician and audience, fans, realizes about the power of live music and just what you guys are doing?
I think, to be honest, a lot of audience members and musicians especially really know the benefits. We understand the benefits of live music and listening to music. When you look at like YouTube views, for example, any genre, doesn't matter what genre, during the pandemic, numbers flew up. Like music and genres that used to be quite niche, jazz included, just kind of skyrocketed, and people's musicianship was, really kind of applauded, and you had all these people exploring new genres that they never kind of thought they were into, and people are becoming masters of listening, all over the world, and especially with the power of the internet. It's just become stronger and stronger, the appreciation for good music. And I don't know how I think in America and the US it might be different. In the UK we're kind of struggling against, for me anyway, it feels like we're struggling against a government or a system upstairs that are not seeing the benefits that everyone else sees of live music and music in general. You'd think that London, for example, or Birmingham, these hubs for creativity in the UK, you think they'd really be getting pushed and money, pumped into them to keep creating what they do, but it's as they do. And that we're always going to be cities all over the UK that are constantly creating, whether there's money there or not. But I think for now, like, it's just about persuading, those the people in power really to, persuading them of the benefits. Because right now you've got so many people that are really, really kind of benefiting and healing, especially after COVID. We're all healing because of live music and music and art in general. And I think it's only a matter of time until the government sees that and realizes it's a really good method for getting people back on their feet and enjoying themselves again.
Absolutely, I agree. And that's kind of what's starting to happen around here, and that's what's so refreshing about new recordings and the potential for live music. So with that being said, I really appreciate you reaching out, sending me over the recording. It's a fascinating story that I think is going to add a great textural backdrop to playing the music and the interview on the show. So thank you. I send our best from the middle of America to the middle of England. I appreciate your time.
That's great. Thank you very much for your conversation. It was really nice to talk to you.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in England, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to both Patrick and Adam for their time, music, and candor. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.